Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and we have the gang back minus Gil Santos, who's running a little late. We'll see if he joins us later in the show. But I am joined by Tony Barbosa and Jose Carlos Gomes. This is going to be a fun show because it was a fun week in the NFL. And before we get into our picks, I'd like to invite everyone to subscribe, like, and comment. I got a really nice comment from a Jets fan a few weeks ago talking about how I didn't know about football because their offense was never going to be this bad. Where are you now? Where are you? Where's your comments now? How are your Jets looking? Pretty awful. They're worse than they were last year. Their offense is terrible. Aaron Rodgers is playing like one of the worst QBs in the league. They can't run the football. Their defense is worse. Last year they were 4-4 with Zach Wilson. They're 2-6 with Rodgers now. Uh, I'm bringing this up because the Jets are playing on Thursday, and God forbid I have to watch another freaking Jets game in prime time. But they're playing the Houston Texans, who have their own fair share of injuries. They lost Stephon Diggs to a ACL injury for the rest of the season. Nico Collins is still out. That leaves CJ Stroud with Tank Dell and Joe Mixon. I expect a lot of running in this game. And the Jets defense can't stop anybody, and they can't score. So I have Houston. I'm done with the Jets. I probably won't take them the rest of the year. Rodgers is going back into the darkness, and then I don't have to worry about watching him play quarterback anymore. Jose, who do you like, and do you have any thoughts on the horrific New York Jets?
Thoughts on the Jets is they need an offensive line. I think
True.
they need some offensive line to help give a little bit more time to Rodgers to get open and stuff like that, and to expose the run game because they have two good running backs, but they can't run with if you can't block. So I think they need in the off season or during the draft they need to upgrade that. In saying that, still they should have won some of these games that they've lost this year, especially last week. You shouldn't be losing to the Patriots. In saying this, I'm gonna take them this week just because I think Houston's got too many injuries going on right now with their team. I think it's gonna hurt their passing game, and I think the Jets will get pressure on CJ Stroud and they'll squeak one out this week. I think they have to win if they're planning on making any playoff rush. So this is the game that they have to win. They have to take advantage of an injury-prone Houston team. If Houston was fully healthy, I would have took Houston, not a problem. But in saying that, I'm going to take the Jets.
Two more notes on this game before I get to Barbosa. The Jets hammered Houston last year with Zach Wilson. They beat him 30-10 last year. That was a part of the reason why I think Houston might pull this one out. I think they're going to get some revenge. Also, to be fair to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, they have a horrible kicker. Greg Zuerlein can't make a kick if his life depends on it. I mean, it was just terrible. That game was close because he missed kicks, which allowed the Patriots to have a last second drive. But
Yeah.
you can't lose. You can't lose to a Patriots team that loses their starting quarterback, has less than 250 yards offense, and hasn't committed a turnover. Like you just can't lose that game. But Barbosa, are you done with the Jets? Or are you going to stick with them?
For this game, I'm sticking with the Jets because of the injuries. CJ Stroud has nobody to throw it to, so I think he's going to try to hang on to the ball a little bit, and I think the Jets might be able to get to him. And like Jose said, the Jets need an offensive line. That's where you win football games. It's on the line. It's on the defensive line and the offensive line. If you don't have an offensive line, you're not going to win most games. In saying that, their kicker has blown at least two games for the Jets. They've always been the games are kind of tight when they play. I think they only had maybe one blowout loss, one or two this season, I think.
Well, Pittsburgh and the 49ers hammered them.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the first game, yeah. So they've been pretty close, under a touchdown. So um, I think the Jets should win this week just because of the injuries in Houston under passing game. So I'm going to take the Jets
Yeah,
just for that reason.
yeah,
But I give up on the Jets. I don't know.
yeah.
I can't figure out what's going on. You fire the head coach. This guy's even better. Even worse defensively because they're worse defensively since Salah left. I don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I give up. I give up.
I think that locker room is divided too, because reports out of New York are that a lot of the players like Salah and were against the firing, and so I think it's a pretty split locker room right now. And you have the Aaron Rodgers supporters, which are his men, and then you have everyone else. And I think that's a big problem with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers never known as the best leader, so we'll see how that goes this week on Thursday night. Now let's get to the Denver Broncos, who have a great defense and have a quarterback that is starting to click it with his receivers. Javonte Williams is starting to run the ball better. A sleepy team. They're going to play a team that has the worst defense in the NFL, in my opinion, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens allow Jameis Winston, who hasn't played in 2 years, to absolutely destroy them, to the point where Jose picked up a guy named Cedric Tillman on two fantasy drafts because of how great Winston is compared to Deshaun Watson. We'll get to Cleveland next week. They're on a bye. They have a quarterback. They could be a sneaky team to get into the playoffs. Barbosa's Colts are going to have to watch out for them. The Ravens are going to have to outscore teams to win this year. It's not always a good recipe, and this is a very dangerous game. If you're a spread better, take the 9.5 points. However, Baltimore has to win this game, and they'll find a way, but it's going to be close because the Denver defense is no joke. I'm not sure if Deontay Johnson's going to play in this first game. Probably will, but if they are able to, keep Derrick Henry quiet and then force Jackson to throw the football against Patrick Surtain, this could get interesting. But I'll take the Ravens in a close game. Jose.
You know what? It's weird how Baltimore's their last place against the pass, and then they're second against the run.
Yes,
stopping the run. I think they're gonna force Knicks to throw the ball because they're not gonna be able to run on that defense. In saying that, I still think Baltimore will win this game. You know what? Denver's won some good games, but they haven't I don't think they have beat anybody to a higher level.
they're taking advantage of the schedule, Jose.
Yeah, of course, and that's what I'm saying. They're a weak schedule, right? So they've been beating weak teams. When they play good teams, they lose. So I think they're gonna play a good Baltimore team this week. I think Baltimore. You know what? I'm surprised that they have a bad passing against the worst place against the passing because they have a good
horrible,
secondary.
Jose. They're bad.
I know, but I'm saying they have players they have Humphreys, they have Hamilton, they have good linebackers. I'm just surprised, but in saying that, I think Lamar Jackson will ball out in this game, and you know what? Deontay Johnson is a good pickup for them. It's another threat for the outside for their passing game. And it opens up more of the run game for Derrick Henry, and that's what their game is just run and then play action. So I'm gonna take Baltimore.
Barbosa, who do you got?
I'm gonna take the Broncos, and the reason being is because if Derrick Henry doesn't run early and he doesn't pick up yards, they get away from that. Last week he only had 10 touches, I believe. And I think towards the end of the game, he didn't have many touches. They left it to Lamar to win the game,
which was a mistake, by the way. Which was a mistake against the Browns.
That's
defense.
What I'm saying. They've proven all year that they tend to do that. If Derrick Henry doesn't start running the ball early, they get away from the running game and they leave it up to Lamar, which is a bad mistake because, like you said, their defense is horrible. The more time you keep that defense off the field, the better the better chances of winning you're gonna have, right? So in saying that, because like you said, Reese, Denver's defense is no joke. That's a good defense, and Bo Nix is starting to ball. So I'm gonna take the Broncos in this game. I just see if the Ravens don't start running Derrick Henry early, it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I don't blame you for taking the upset. let's get to two very troubled teams as the Las Vegas Raiders, who try hard but have no talent and have no quarterback and have no running game. Go to Cincinnati, take on a team that somehow is 0-4 at home in the Cincinnati Bengals, who struggle on defense, and they haven't been all that impressive offensively either, despite getting chased back. Higgins missed another game. They're struggling to run the football without Joe Mixon. Gill last week said that they were a home team. I'd like to know what home team is a home team when they're 0-4. Having said that, Joe Burrow came out and said this is a must win. They're 2-6, and if they don't win this game, they're done. Um, I have a hard time believing the Bengals will lose this game, so I'll take the Bengals. But they, in my opinion, are one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL this year. Barbosa, who do
They're
you got?
3-5 actually. They're three
Oh,
and
sorry,
five, not 2 and
three and
2.
five. Sorry, they beat the Giants, and yeah,
Yeah,
they're 3-5. But the Eagles hammered them, like Barbosa. The Eagles hammered them. It was not close that game. Who do
yeah.
you got, Barbosa?
I'm gonna take the Bengals. They're at home. The Raiders are they're a shell of themselves. They don't know who to start at quarterback, um, and they're they're just bad. So I'm just
They
gonna
got
take the
one
Bengals.
bright spot, Barbosa, Brock Bowers. That's it. That's all they have.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's why I'm taking the Bengals.
Uh, Jose, um, yeah. What do you got?
I'm gonna take the Bengals just because it's a must-win game for them, and plus, you know what? You see that T. Higgins is a important piece on that offense. When he hasn't played, they've lost almost every single game. When he's been there, they've won.
Yeah.
He's a big loss because he opens up the passing game for Chase, so then he doesn't get double teamed or anything like that. Um, Las Vegas, dude. I think they're playing for pretty. Next week they'll have a garage sale. They're gonna start selling out all the best players, and they'll trade probably Crosby and all those guys that get the high contracts, and then start just getting ready for the draft. So then they can the draft an actual quarterback. You don't have the mustache Minshew there, and he can send them back to the Colts because he's shit anyway.
Hmm.
Him and the Colts are they're perfect for each other because they're shit. And then you
Yeah.
have O'Donnell that's always injured and stuff like that. So you don't even know. And then he's passing the ball to Myers and guys that you never heard of in your life. So dude, that team's shambles. So I'm taking Cincinnati in the must-win game at home.
Here's how bad it is for Vegas, guys. They're still paying Jimmy G dead cap money. That's how bad it is for the Raiders right now. Uh, let's move on. The
Yeah.
New England Patriots, who I liked what I saw from Drake May. I think he's been a breath of fresh air for them. I think he's going to be good for them going forward. Got hurt, got a concussion once again. Barbosa, what do we say about young quarterbacks?
Right.
Slide, and
Jaden
another
Daniels figured that out quick. Jaden
another
Daniels figured that out
Jaden
quick.
Daniels breaks his ribs. Drake May with a concussion. Jordan Love with a groin injury. Like, these young quarterbacks have got to slide, and if they don't, they're going to get hurt. So he's hurt. We don't know if he's coming back. They're going to take on the Tennessee Titans, who wish they had a hurt quarterback in Will Levis. He is hurt. Mason Rudolph gave them some sort of passing game last week, but they ran into a Detroit Lions team that should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Um, as long as they're indoors, Detroit is the most dangerous team in the league. And I'm saying that even though Kansas City is undefeated, because I just think Detroit has everything. Um, even
And if
if
they
they get
get Crosby, watch out. If they get Max Crosby, watch out
yeah,
because
if they add
uh,
to their
they
defense,
need to replace Hutchinson.
I
They need
mean,
to replace Hutchinson.
we'll get to the Lions later, but think about this. They won a
Yeah.
game 52-10 with Jared Goff throwing 85 yards passing. That's how good their running game is and their
Yeah.
defense. So it's just they're deadly. Um, so New England at Tennessee, this is a horrible game. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be ugly. Um, God, who am I going to take here? I have no clue. Let's go to Barbosa first. Who do you got?
I'm gonna take the Patriots just because of their win last week. They're a little bit confident, so I'm just going to take the Patriots. And Titans, I don't know what they are, so I don't know what they are. They traded DeAndre Hopkins. They're going to start selling too. I think they're like the Raiders. They're going to start selling that team. They just traded DeAndre Hopkins away. So yeah, I think they're done. Yeah, that's why I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
Jose.
I'm gonna take Tennessee. They're they play good with Mason Rudolph back at quarterback, so I think he gives them an upgrade back there. They feel more comfortable with him in the offense, running the offense. I think Pollard will have a good game running. I think New England, if you stop the run game, I don't think they offensively, passing wise, I don't think they can give you much. They're probably going to start Brissett. So in saying that, I'm going to take Tennessee at home. Just for because we went to Tennessee last year and they won, so I'm taking Tennessee at home. I don't know why.
Yeah. Despite their beatdown last week, I actually liked what I saw from Mason Rudolph and Calvin Ridley. I think they got some chemistry going in there. I think the DeAndre Hopkins trade was done to clear the decks for Ridley to have a bigger impact on offense. He did play well last week, had over 100 yards and a touchdown. Pollard is still a decent running back. As long as it's Mason Rudolph against Brissett, I think Tennessee will win this game. So I'll take the Titans. I'm not going to waste too much time talking about this game. The New Orleans Saints, who are likely to get Derek Carr back, are going to, and they have Cliff Olave back. They're going to Carolina to take on the Panthers, who are once again starting Bryce Young. New Orleans beat this team like by 50 in week 1. Even if it's Spencer Rattler, I have the Saints. Jose.
This is one of those tricky ones, man, because New Orleans, if they don't, they're all their wide receivers are hurt, so it's tough to pick them. Carolina has nothing to lose, and Bryce Young has a lot to play for. Uh, This is my upset of the week. I'm going to take Carolina at home. I think they're gonna be try to bounce back from their loss to the beginning of the season. I think Carolina. You know what? Bryce Young needs this game to prove himself that he's the number one quarterback in that team. So I'm going to take Carolina.
Barbosa, who do you got?
I can see this being one of those Alvin Kamara games where he has like 3 touchdowns, he runs for 150 yards.
He's going to have a big day, no question.
Yeah, so if that happens, Carolina doesn't stand a chance. So I'm going to take the Saints just because of that reason. I think that there's a game that Kamara is going to go off. So I'm going to take the Saints.
Yeah, ugly game. Kamara just signed a contract extension. If he's in the game, they should win the game. But we'll see. We might have the debut of Jonathan Brooks, and that could change things for Carolina, but we'll see. Let's go to 2 teams that I absolutely hate. And when I say hate, I mean despise both these teams. It's the Dallas Cowboys, who I hope miss the playoffs. I hate that team so much. I hope they miss the playoffs. We own them and we beat their ass again. Once again, Barbosa didn't learn his lesson. The 49ers own Dallas. You still took Dallas last week. So hopefully you've learned your lesson about teams that the 49ers own. The fake comeback again from Dallas, the same storyline we see every year with them. Although they did have a chance to win this game, 4-0, bye-bye 49ers win. They're going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons, who barely squeaked by a broken and injured Tampa Bay team by 5 points last week. The only way I'm picking this game is the team I hate more, and I hate Dallas more, so I'm taking Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta's a good team at all. I think they're fraudulent. I think they're going nowhere in the playoffs when they win the division. They're the first team and out, but they're going to be at Dallas because Dallas has no run game, and they're expecting Dak Prescott to throw the ball 50 times and win, and that's not a recipe for success. Atlanta will run on Dallas's horrible defense, and Kirk Cousins hopefully doesn't make too many mistakes, and Atlanta wins a close one again because they don't really blow anyone out. So I got Atlanta. Jose?
Tough game to pick. Like I predicted, the Atlanta Falcons would beat your Bucks, and they bet them twice.
Injuries.
No, and don't come with the excuse of injuries because week one, well, the first time they played them in Atlanta, they didn't have any injuries and they lost. So, anyways, um, you know what? I think I'm gonna take Dallas in this one. I think Dallas needs this game more. They're 3-4. I think they need this game to keep alive in that division. Hopefully they get some of their defensive starters back too. You know, Mika Parsons is a big loss for them. Lawrence is a big loss for them. Supposedly Blend's supposed to come back this week for the corners. Um, I think they're going to do the same thing like they did to the Niners. They're going to stack the box and force them to throw the ball on Atlanta, and maybe they can intercept the Cousins a couple of times. So I'm going to take Dallas.
You know what? I love that explanation from Jose because it's very accurate. So good explanation, Jose. Barbosa, your selection. Because that's how they're going to lose. It's going to be Cousins fumbling or throwing picks. That's how they're going to lose. Go ahead, Barbosa.
Well, pick your poison with Dak and Kirk Cousins because Dak is not really better when it comes to
we know Dak's going to throw picks too. Yeah.
It is a tough game, but the Cowboys. I don't know. I don't know. The Cowboys just seem like they're in shambles. You got Diggs yelling in the locker room, our reporters, and I just think that team is decimated right now. I don't think they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys, for some reason, now on dome, on turf field, they forgot to play football. This is almost like a home game for them because of the field. So I'm going to take the Falcons because the Cowboys stink at home, and they got no run game. So
the game is in Atlanta. The game is in Atlanta.
Yeah, I know it's in Atlanta. Okay. I know it's in Atlanta, but it feels like a home game because the field is pretty much the same. And I'm going to take the Falcons just because they're at home.
All right, let's get to another game where one of the teams owns the other team. The Miami Dolphins, who blew their season last week. In my opinion, they're not coming back from that loss to the Cardinals. They're going to take on the Buffalo Bills, who I correctly predicted would win the division and will win the division. They are surprising a lot of people with their good defense, with their run offense. They absolutely own the Dolphins. I don't expect that to change this week, despite the fact that Tua is back from injury. I got the Bills. Jose.
I got the Bills as well. I think they're 13-1 against them. In the last 14, Josh Allen owns them. I think the only loss I remember was when they had the heat stroke. They couldn't even play. So that was the last time they beat them. In saying that, Miami, like I told you guys, Miami offensively is good. Defensively, they're weak. I think they got a lot of injuries to key players, and they didn't upgrade their defense this year. So in saying that, I'm taking Buffalo. I think Josh Allen's playing smart. He's not turning over the ball. He's not forcing passes. He's taking what it's given to him, and they're establishing the run game with Cook. And so it opens up the passing game to the other end. The rookie's coming along, Keon Coleman. Sorry, he's coming along, and he's getting more reps now on the more snaps. So and he's been catching some nice balls thrown by Josh Allen. Yeah. So in saying that, I'm taking Buffalo.
Despite the lower stats, I believe this is the best Josh Allen has played in his whole career.
100%.
Because when you don't turn the football over, I don't care if you have 500 yards. I'd rather you not turn it over and win the game. So I think he's been great all year. And quietly, which is also good if you're trying to go into playoff sneaky. So, Barbosa, who do you got?
The reason why Josh Allen is not turning the ball over is they got a run game now. Yeah, Buffalo finally has a run game.
Well, they're using the run game.
Ever since he's been a quarterback there, they have a good running game. And also, like you said, the rookie wideout and the addition of Murray Cooper is going to be huge for that offense. And the Dolphins, they can't stop anybody. So that's a recipe for disaster. Even if Tua comes back, I don't see them. The Bills' defense, surprisingly, not bad. I thought they were going to be bad, terrible, because the big losses they lost some key players in the offseason and some injuries. But they're actually pretty good. They're not bad a bad defense. So I'm going to take the Bills, and it's going to be a blowout. It's not even going to be close.
Yeah, I think the only thing the Bills struggle with a little bit is the run defense, but I'm sure they'll be fine in this game. I mean, the Dolphins don't commit to the run enough to cause a threat to the Bills in this game. Okay, we've got 5 minutes. Let's go one more game. The LA Chargers, who most of us thought would be a lot better. None of us thought they'd be this good this year. But Jim Harbaugh is, and we know this, me and Jose know this from the 49er days. He knows how to fix a team. Now, he may not get you all the way to the promised land because he might wear out his welcome, but that guy knows how to fix a team. He took the worst defense in the NFL, and they're one of the best. That's got Jim Harbaugh's fingerprints written all over it. They're one of the top rushing teams in the league, and the beneficiary has been Mr. Herbert, who, despite not having any receivers other than Ladd McConkey recently, is throwing the ball very, very well. They're going to Cleveland to take on the Browns, who now have a quarterback, and they have Nick Chubb back. So they're a dangerous football team now with a good defense. Having said that, I really, really love how the Chargers look, and I'm not convinced that Winston could get it done against a good defense. For people that have forgotten, he's still a turnover machine. The Browns don't have any receivers, and the Chargers are good against the run. I've got the Chargers. Jose.
You know what? This is one of those tough games to pick. Two good defensive teams. Jim Harbaugh,
folks.
Jim Harbaugh he's an old school coach, man. His is just defense and run the ball. He did that in San Fran. He's doing the same thing in LA. He did the same thing in Michigan when he went there and he won the national title. You don't need, and now he has an upgrade in quarterback with Herbert. In saying that, I'm going to take Cleveland still. I think Cleveland, you know what, they can sneak into this playoff race in the AFC North. They have Chubb back now. That's a good running game. They have some surprise wide receivers in Tillman, and they still have Judy out there too, and then Joku. That's a guy people should pick up in their fantasy if they have him. That guy.
Yes.
He loves Winston loves to throw the ball to him. In saying that, I'm going to take Cleveland at home. I think Cleveland is on a high from last week, beating a Ravens team in a close game. And I think Winston. You know what? Winston is a guy that needs to prove himself. That this is an audition for him. If he plays well next year, I don't even know who gives a shit about if they paid Watson all that money. They'll release his ass and they'll pay him whatever, and they'll have a Winston quarterback, Winston as their quarterback for next year. So I'm gonna take Cleveland. I think Cleveland will pull this one out on the last minute field goal.
Barbosa.
This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be a tough game.
Low scoring.
I like the Chargers. I do like the Chargers. And the Browns finally have a capable quarterback. But to be honest, a capable quarterback because Deshaun Watson is terrible. It's terrible. I think his mind is still
gone
in the whole situation what he went through. and that defense is deadly. And if Chubb can start running the ball, they're going to be a dangerous team. But I like what I've seen from the Chargers, and I like Justin Herbert better than Jameis Winston, so I'm going to take the Chargers.
Okay, we will take a short break and we'll be right back on the Reese Report. Welcome back to the Reese Report. We took a short break. We're now going to get into the 4 o'clock games. Let's start with the Washington Commanders and the heroic Jaden Daniels, who threw with busted up ribs an incredible Hail Mary that should have been knocked down by the Bears, but popped up into the air and landed into the hands of Noah Brown, completely changing the playoff race, costing the Bears dearly, who dropped to 4-3, with the Commanders going to 6-2 and hanging in there with the Eagles. A game they had no business winning, but they pulled it off. They go to take on the Giants, who are a mess. They have a quarterback problem in Daniel Jones. Tyron Tracy, however, is a revelation for them. He has a concussion, will not likely be cleared to play on time for this. Had he been in the game, this might have been a different story, but he's not, and the Commanders are rolling. If Daniels has one more week to recover, I'm a big fan of this team. I think I got the Commanders. Barbosa, Jones has hung in there. We haven't seen Tommy DeVito, but he's still shit. Who do you have?
Commanders. I don't have much to say about the Giants. They stink.
Yeah. Jose?
The Giants played them tough the first week. The first time they played them in Washington, and it was a last-minute field goal that they won the game by. In saying that, I think Washington, it's like every year. There's a revolution team in the NFL. Last year was the Texans. Last year was the Texans, and this year it looks like it's going to be Washington. I think they have everything going for them. Even the Hail Mary last week. You know what, man? But you guys, I told you guys at the beginning in the preview show this year, that Jaden Daniels was going to be Rookie of the Year, and he had a cannon of an arm. That man threw a 65-yard bomb, not like a little, not a 40, not a 65-yard bomb to the end zone. You know how hard that is? With bad ribs, exactly. You know how hard that is to throw a 65-yard bomb like that?
He's got a cannon.
Come on, man. You guys,
that's Aaron Rodgers in his prime. That's Aaron Rodgers in his prime.
Okay, but we're not talking about Aaron Rodgers. I'm talking about Jaden Daniels. You guys were like on so high on Bo Nix and this and that. Bo Nix can't even throw a ball 20 yards, never mind a 65-yard bomb like that. Please. Anyways, Washington, I think they squeak one out. It's going to be a tough game. So is those divisional games are always tough.
Yes.
So I won't be surprised if the Giants beat them and stuff like that, because coming off of those games off a high on the last minute win, your team always downplays the next game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in saying that, you can't go against Washington right now. They're playing well, and the Giants are in shambles. Too many injuries, and get a new quarterback.
Yes. What I've liked about the Commanders is their defense has really come on. Dan Quinn has got that defense rolling, and Dallas has not been the same without him. Jaden Daniels, I really liked coming out of the draft. I found it strange that people were talking about his arm being a problem. His arm is not a problem. He's got the dual threat. He knows how to slide. I think he's better than Caleb Williams at this point. We haven't seen Michael Penix or J.J. McCarthy, but I think it's safe to say that there's no question he'll be Rookie of the Year. Even if Denver has a decent record, I don't think Bo Nix has been nearly as effective as Jaden Daniels. There's no way Washington is here with Marcus Mariota. So Jaden Daniels looking good. Hopefully he stays healthy. Let's go to Jacksonville, who always finds a way to lose games. They're just geniuses at it. They come back to tie it, and then they always lose at the end. Except for when it was Barbosa's Colts. That was the time where they figured out a way to win. So
that's a lock. That's a lock.
They're fucking shit. The Colts can't beat them.
Yeah, that's your culture shit too.
So they're going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. I'm not going to waste any time here. The Eagles are rolling. Jacksonville's defense is really struggling. Um, they have Christian Kirk out for the season. I mean, Bigsby's all right. He's playing well, but I just don't. The Jaguars are terrible. Like the Eagles are winning this game. Barbosa, who do you got?
The Eagles are winning this game. Saquon Barkley is gonna have another big game. That's what they were missing is a running game. Um,
Defense has been better this year.
yeah, the defense has been a little bit better. It's just the quarterback play is still
Hurts played
still a
really
little
well
bit
last week.
suspect.
That's the one of the best games he's played all year.
Yeah, but he's still a little bit suspect this year. He's better than last year, 100%. I gotta say he's better than
Yes.
last year, but he's not like it was 2 years ago, um, 2 or 3 years when they went to the Super Bowl. He's not playing like that. So in saying that, I can't. Jacksonville is,
Yeah.
yeah,
Disaster.
yeah.
Joseph.
You would be winning this game.
This is simple. Philly is playing simple football. They're not forcing him to throw the ball 30, 40 times like he was last year. And that's why there's all so many interceptions. I think the most passes he threw this year was like 20 something. So he's
Yeah.
throwing the ball 20 times a game and then they're rushing the ball the rest of the game. So they're keeping it safe. They have a good running game with Barkley. And then they got some, they once in a while they throw a pass to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith out of there. In saying that, Philly should win this game at home. Jaguars are struggling off defensively, although they played with the Green Bay Packers tough last week. They mounted a comeback and then they lost it on the last minute on the field goal. But that's it's NFL like that. The last minute drives, it happens. But in saying that, I Philly should win this game. I think they're gonna blow them out in this one. So I'm taking Philly.
I'm gonna throw this out there just as a wild hot take. Malik Willis might be one of the best pickups in the offseason this year. He's won them 3 games. So good on LaFleur for picking him up and actually treating him like a quarterback, unlike Tennessee, who wouldn't let him throw the football. So we'll get to Green Bay later. The Chicago Bears, my God, this franchise has to be cursed. I mean, it just, how do you lose that game last week? It's got to be cursed. Like, just seeing the reactions after the loss, like just watching Caleb and everything, just funny. But they're just cursed. They're going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals are a team that has found a way to win games late. They beat the 49ers late with a field goal. They beat Miami late with a field goal. They should have beat Buffalo and lost that game. Arizona's been frisky all year outside of one game where they got blown out. 49ers lost to them. So they're very, very sneaky. This is a tough game. Boy, the Bears need this bad. The Cardinals are 4-4 and the Bears are 4-3. This is a huge game. Let's go to Barbosa first for this one. What do you got?
I'm gonna take the Cardinals.
We've been taking them all year. Why not? Why stop now?
Yeah, I like you said, I like their offense. I really like the chemistry that Harrison and Kyler Murray are building. I think he could be one of the best receivers in the NFL. Defensively, they're still a little bit suspect. I still worry about them defensively. In saying that, they're at home, so I'm going to take the Cardinals. And the Bears, I don't know. It's like you said, they find ways to lose games. How do you lose that game in Europe? I don't know. I'm going to take
27 seconds.
I can't. I don't know what to do with the Bears. The games they should have won. How do you lose that game? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, take the Cardinals.
Jose.
Listen, Arizona has been winning games that they shouldn't have even be in and winning these games.
I know.
True.
These last minute field goals, that's been already 3 games in a row that they've won in the last minute field goal. Saying that, I think Chicago will get pressure on Kyler Murray. They won't let him rush around and open up the passing game. I think they'll shut down Harrison. Give me the Bears on the road in an important must-win game for them to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that division's
It's gonna
brutal.
be a
Like
close game. I don't think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be either way. It's
no,
not
no,
gonna be. Well, it's gonna
it
be a close game either way.
yeah, it'll be a close game coming down to the end. I decided to make my pick based on who I believe in more. I believe the Bears, somewhere in the Bears locker room, in the stadium, somewhere is a good team. They have flaws. They have an offensive line issue. They don't run the ball consistently. Caleb's inconsistent, but there's a good team somewhere in Chicago. I don't believe in Arizona. I
They keep the
haven't all
games
year.
close.
They just, yeah, Arizona finds a way at the end. Kyler Murray will run the ball for 50 yards and a touchdown, and they win games they shouldn't win. I actually disagree with you, Barbosa. I don't like the chemistry between um uh Harrison and Murray.
And Murray,
I don't think that he's throwing the ball to him enough, and I think that
Mhm.
that's why their offense is bogged down a little bit. Connor's a really good running back, and if he
yeah,
threw the ball over the top more, I think Arizona's offense would be better than it is. Instead, he likes to run it too much because he's a short
yeah,
quarterback, can't see over the lineman. So, um, I'm going to take the Bears. I just think that somehow, some way, they're better than Arizona, but I don't have any evidence. Um, but the Bears should be 5-3 right now. That loss last week was just horrendous, and here's hoping they rebound. I mean, they lost to the Colts this year, so believe me, I don't know this Bears team. Like they find ways to lose games, and Arizona finds ways to win games, but that kind of reverses itself sometimes. So I'm going to go with the Bears.
Give me the Bears.
Yes, the Bears. Let's go to a team that is like the Cleveland Browns in that they're a very dangerous three-win team, and that's the LA Rams, who got their receivers back last week and exposed the Minnesota defense. Um, they go to Seattle to take on the Seabags, who can't win a game at home. So I got the Rams. Goes in.
This all depends if Metcalf plays or not, because he opens up the passing game and the run game for them on
They
the
don't win at
offensive
home,
game.
Jose. They don't win at
Yeah.
home. Uh,
But still, they don't win at home. Neither does the freaking 49ers, and they won the first game at home last week anyway, too. So it happens, man. They're eventually gonna have to pop it off. But in saying that, I like the Rams as well. I think the Rams their passing game opens the game up for Williams to run the ball.
he's been excellent
And
all year, Kyron
yeah,
Williams.
he has. And now that he has Cooper and thing, that opens up even more space for him now too. Even in the passing game, he caught a touchdown last week as well.
What a
I agree with you.
fantasy gold. He's fantasy gold, my friends. Oh God, I love Kyron Williams.
He's yeah, so I'm gonna take the LA Rams as well. I think they're gonna win this one.
It'll be close because it's a division game, as it always is. But yes, Rams. Barbosa,
I'm
going
gonna
with the
take the Rams too, but I don't think it's gonna be that close because you've seen last week when both Puka Nakua and Cup are healthy, that offense is dangerous. That's a dangerous offense. And like you said, with the running game and catching the balls out of the backfield, that is a deadly team. Defensively, they still have their issues, but man, offensively, like you said, they exposed the Vikings, and the Vikings defense has been decent better than decent up to this point.
yeah,
So for them to expose that defense like that, watch out for the Rams. That's a scary team heading into the
Hey,
playoffs right now. That's a
talking
scary team.
talking about Minnesota, that was a crazy game. It was a good game all around. It was a close game. It wasn't like a
yeah.
blowout or anything like that. So
And Minnesota got
Minnesota,
jobbed. Minnesota got jobbed at the end. The face
yeah,
mask on Don.
Well,
They got jobbed.
but
yeah.
but still,
So
that Rams that offense kind of woke up. Well, getting those two receivers back, that's a scary, scary team. So I'm saying that I'm going to take the Rams. Geno Smith has been inconsistent this year. I
Yeah,
don't know what's. I think he's fallen back to old Geno Smith. He's been very inconsistent. So I'm gonna take the Rams for that reason, and
yeah.
plus that offense.
Gino needs to have Walker and all his weapons, or he's not going to be as effective.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Um, I'm just going to do a quick rant on the refs. The NFL has a rule where for first downs, for line calls, for catches, the refs are on the mic. They do a quick review just to confirm the call. either way, and then you have a choice to challenge it. Why they can't do that for an obvious face mask is ridiculous to me, because it changed the result of that game. They could have easily come back and tied it, or for the 2-point conversion, what have you. I just think that
we're talking about the same officiating that 2 years ago. Who do they cost in the NFC Championship game?
New Orleans. New Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because of the pass interference. That was a big pass interference, to be honest. But, this we're talking about the same officiating. Yeah. Every year, the officiating is going to blow on
if you don't have a Kansas City Chief symbol on your helmet, then you're not going to get any calls.
Well, the reason why the Rams, let's be honest, the reason why the Rams went to the Super Bowl is because it was in LA. Come on. That's why that call was blown.
Yeah. Well, they instituted a rule to do pass interference replays, and it lasted 1 year, and they got rid of it. So I'm just saying that on a call that obvious, like, it takes 2 seconds for them to see that it happened. It's not that difficult, but it'll probably never happen.
The problem is calls like that, like the NFL, obviously, really blatant calls, yes. But calls like that, when it's a bit iffy. There's a little bit of human element that you got to have too, right?
Yeah.
So, they don't want to be, they don't want to rely always on video review.
Yeah, I just mean for obvious calls. That's the only thing. That one was so. I mean, the defensive player reacted like he put his hands on his head, knowing he committed the foul, and they still didn't call it. Like, it's just crazy. And Jefferson was not happy. Threw his helmet on the ground. Yeah, it was not good. But we'll get to Minnesota later, which is not going to be fun for Barbosa. Let's get to the Detroit Lions. They, in my opinion, despite having 1 loss on the season, are the best team in the NFL. They're going to take on the Green Bay Packers. Now, while I'm talking about this game, I'm going to check quickly if Love's groin injury is going to keep him out. If that's the case, I'm taking the Lions, but I'm going to take a quick look before I make my pick. Barbosa, who do you got?
The Lions, man, they're rolling right now. That's a deep team, man. Even though Green Bay is a good team, just the Lions are just, I don't know, they're just a team that's destined to win the Super Bowl. Defensively, they still have their warts, but man, offensively, that run game is just, my God. I'm going to take the Lions.
All right, Jose, go ahead.
Good game. Even if Love's there, Detroit's going to win this game. Last year, they beat their ass in Green Bay. This year, they'll do the same. Green Bay can't stop the run.
Yeah.
If their life depended on it. They're good against the pass, but the rush defense is garbage. So in saying that, I see Detroit running the ball all over them, play action, using Laporta, using St. Brown. It's not gonna be a beauty for Green Bay. I think they're gonna get their ass kicked. So I'm taking Detroit.
Yeah, I actually completely agree. Green Bay has struggled to win games this year. They barely beat the Rams without their 2 receivers. They barely beat Jacksonville. They're winning games, but barely. And when you're facing a Detroit team with that run game, man, oh man, oh man. If you can't stop the run, you're not going to beat them. Green Bay wins games on turnovers, and I don't think Jared Goff's going to throw the ball very much to set up turnovers. So you're going to see a lot of running from Detroit, and Green Bay can't stop the run. So even if Love plays, I have the Lions as well. Green Bay, you saw earlier in the year, lost to Minnesota for that exact same reason. They couldn't stop the run, and Darnold didn't turn the ball over, and they were down 35-3 at the half. So I think it's going to be ugly for Green Bay this week, with or without Jordan Love. And I don't think Jordan Love wants to play in this game with a bad groin. That's not a good idea against that defense. All right, now let's get to the Colts. Now, the actual game they're playing this week, we're not going to waste any time on, because the Colts are going to play a very angry Minnesota Vikings team. 39-year-old quarterback or not, Anthony Richardson benched or not, they were going to get their ass kicked. Indianapolis can't stop a stiff breeze or a nosebleed. So they ain't stopping Minnesota from doing anything. So I have the Vikings. Let's make our picks, and then we're going to talk about Barbosa's team. I'm going to ask him a couple of questions. Jose, I'm sure you got the Vikings.
That's not even a question, man. Don't. I told you I'm gonna go all year, even if I go 0-16 or 0-17 against the Colts, bro. Please, I don't. Why are we even bothering? Okay, wake me up when you guys finish talking
Okay.
about the Colts.
There is an interesting storyline that I'm going to ask you about, Jose. But go ahead,
Okay, no
Barbosa.
problem.
Pick against your team like a
I'm gonna
smart
take
guy.
I'm gonna take the Vikings. They're the better team, 100%. They're at home. Um, like you said, they're gonna be angry after that loss. So I'm gonna take the Vikings and the Colts. I don't know.
So let's
I
get
don't
to the
know.
story now. I'm going to ask Barbosa first. Um, your team's played some close games this year. I don't know how they've been in all their games, despite injuries, despite horrible, and I mean horrible quarterback play. Like Anthony
Agreed.
He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the league this year. That can't even be debated. Even the throws he does make are lucky. One to Pittman, one to Josh Downs last week. That was a blown coverage. He's regressed this year. He actually played better last year. And then he did something, Jose, that you and I have seen on our ball hockey team, but you don't see in professional sports. He quit on the team. He left the field saying he was too tired. Barbosa, what's going on with your team and quarterback? They have now benched Anthony Richardson for the rest of the season in favor of 39-year-old Joe Flacco. And what that tells me is the locker room has seen enough. They're pissed at him. The organization has seen enough, and they're saying, look, we have to punish this guy, and he's got to sit out. He can't play anymore because they're not. Other players will quit on him as he quit on them. Barbosa, what are your thoughts on your team and your quarterback right now? They're a disaster right now. They can't. There's no argument there.
I can't defend that. I can't defend Anthony Richardson. He's garbage. Shit. I I don't know what other adjective I can use to describe him right now. How do you you're a professional quarterback. You're a professional athlete. How do you get tired from running the ball? Does Lamar Jackson get tired? They tell the coach, I need to play up because of I'm tired because of running the ball. What are we talking about? Is this amateur hour here? Professional. These guys are professional athletes. He quit on the team. He quit on the team. Get his ass out. 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 He's garbage. The guy can't make a throw to an open receiver downfield. How do you miss receiver after receiver after receiver downfield? How? And then you go, I'm tired. I got to take a play off. Come on, man. This is not amateur hour. That guy's going to be playing in the XFL or the CFL in the next 2 years because that's you can't do that. He quit on the team. I'm sorry, he quit on the team. It's okay. It's for the better. Like I said, Joe Flacco was a good pickup for the Colts. Even though the chances of them making the playoffs now are slim to none. Yeah, they gotta draft a quarterback. I hope they start losing every single game. I hope they start really because they need a quarterback.
That's not the plan, Barbosa. They went to Flacco because they're trying to win. Yeah. They're trying to win.
Obviously, you just resigned Jonathan Taylor. You just resigned a couple of the receivers. I get it, but Joe Flacco is not the guy. What are you gonna have after Joe Flacco? You gotta tank. You gotta get a quarterback. You gotta get Richardson out. He's gotta go. That's not a professional. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's not a professional. What a waste of a pick. Waste of a pick. I can't deal with people like that.
Jose, I'm not going to ask you about the Colts necessarily, but I do want to ask you about a player quitting on his team.
Buddy, if I was Richardson, I would do the same thing playing for the Colts. Never mind. That organization is garbage.
Not that. So they're not that bad.
I would quit on the organization too. No,
it's not a bad team.
I'll shit aside.
We've been in close games all year.
Listen,
despite the quarterback play.
Bro, don't blame it on the quarterback because it hasn't been all quarterback play. Anyways,
come on.
No, all shits aside. Listen, as a professional, as guys that's getting paid millions of dollars, you never do that shit. Regardless what's your job. Even us regular guys, you never quit on your team. You never quit on
No,
your squad. That's stupid. And if I was the Colts, if I was the GM or the president or whatever, the guy that didn't want to pay Jonathan Taylor, their best player, okay, didn't want to pay him,
100%.
and you're gonna put up with this bullshit, buddy, I would have
No, done,
cut him right away. Done. You're done.
done,
Next. Get
done,
out of here, buddy. You
done,
quit on my
done.
organization that I pay you millions of dollars to play every Sunday, and you're quitting on my team, buddy. I would have cut him right the next day. Done. Done.
Done.
And
Yeah.
but these kids do nowadays, man. They're not breeded like the old school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's too much prima donna stuff, too much agents, too much bullshit that they hear. Or if you're tired, you don't have to play, you don't have to practice this and that. But back in the day, you would practice even with the broken leg or play with the broken leg. Nowadays, everybody's like a little pussies. I'm sorry, everybody nowadays is these new generation is a bunch of pussies, and that's the way it is. I'm sorry, and I can speak for example of lots of kids that work construction nowadays, buddy. Future in construction is to the shits.
Great analogy. That's a great analogy, Jose.
It's
That's a
going to the
great analogy.
shits, buddy. I can tell you right now because these kids nowadays they don't know what the hell is going on with
Hard work.
and they don't know how to work. They think this is smoking weed and this and that and party life. It doesn't work that way, my friend. Wait until you have bills to pay and family to feed and this and that. But see, these kids now, bro, these it's like the TV show Ballers. It's exactly the same thing, man. These guys don't care. They just want to get the money, get their money worth, and then just party, just enjoy life. The same thing happened with Johnny Manziel. The same thing happened with freaking Jamar Russell. All these guys, number one picks, and look what it turned out to be the garbage. But dude, that one, like we talked about ball hockeys. We had plenty of the situation. Yeah, you Lino the Silva, Mr. AKA superstar that thinks he can do whatever he wants. But that's different, man. We're amateurs. We pay to play and stuff like that. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars to pay. Imagine me walking, telling my boss, "Yeah, I'm tired. I don't want to pour concrete today." Okay, what's he
Not
gonna
only
do to
that,
me? What's he gonna
not
do to
only
me?
that, these guys have access
To
to the
everything.
best equipment,
Yeah,
workout
100%.
equipment in the planet. And
Equipment, protein
on your team,
shakes,
you're tired.
everything. Yeah,
You're
100%.
tired.
Dude,
They
but dude,
got nutrition. They got everything.
but it's like
paid
it's
for.
like I'm saying. I tell my boss, yeah, I'm tired. I don't want to pour concrete, or I don't want to do my job. What is he gonna tell me? Oh yeah, so you can find a different job, buddy. You're
Yeah,
fired.
exactly.
And
100%.
even that goes for any of you two. The same thing.
Yeah,
You would ever tell your boss
absolutely.
that you're freaking tired and stuff. My boss would look at me and tell me, buddy, go back to work before you're on the unemployment list.
Yeah.
Dude, you never do
Yeah.
that, and especially now that he done that. Players, what are the players in the locker room going to be like? Oh, this guy's
Yeah.
is a loser. And you know what's going to happen to him? Even if he does come back next season, they're not going to block for him. He's going to get drilled and he's going to get injured. Trust me,
Yep.
it's not going to be like the longest yard. You know when Flacco starts throwing the game for the guards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they don't block, and he gets drilled. That's going to be happen the same thing next year, and then he's going to learn his hard lesson.
I'll tell you this. If he was to start this week, believe me, whoever Quinn Nelson was going to go up against,
yeah,
that guy would have taken a shot.
They had no choice.
100%.
They had Barbosa. Let me put it this way: they had no choice. Even if it was Malik Willis, Nathan Peterman, it could have been anyone as the backup. They had no choice. They had no choice.
It could have been Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, they would have benched him no matter what. Yeah,
they have to. They have to.
They have no choice.
They should have been released. Never mind.
You're a professional athlete. How the fuck do you get tired?
Yeah. I'll give you my take on this, and I'll give an example. We've watched Brock Purdy this year. Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft, doesn't make a lot of money. He's running for his life every single week. You guys have seen he's running 20 yards, 30 yards on some plays, forward, backwards, running around. I've never, ever seen that guy say he gets tired. And maybe it's a money situation. Maybe it's where he was drafted. Maybe it's the way he was brought up. But that's a great comparison from a guy who's the last pick in the draft to a guy who's the fourth pick in the draft. One guy's not quitting ever, and the other guy's quitting in the regular season. So that's the best example I can give comparison wise. I mean,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine Michael Vick saying, "I'm tired"?
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson saying, "I'm tired." Steve Young, "I'm tired."
Anybody, Barbosa, anybody. Yeah, I don't think Anthony Richardson is going to be a Colt for very much longer.
I think his ass gets released at the end of the season.
I think it's a high possibility he gets released because to get back in that locker room, he would have to prove that he's not a quitter. And you know how long that's going to take for him to get that trust back? I think he's going to end up leaving the Colts and maybe not be able to get back in the NFL. It's going to be a long way back. Long way back for Mr. Richardson.
Not an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
You realize that now. He's not an NFL quarterback. First of all, he can't stay healthy.
He can't play. He can't play. He's at 44% completions.
He can't stay healthy. And how the fuck do you complete 4 out of 20? What?
Yeah, it was bad. Really bad.
What?
All right, we've talked about Anthony Richardson enough.
Get used to it, Barbosa. Your culture shit.
Yeah.
That's why he quit.
Yeah.
He quit because he has a horseshoe up his ass. You know, like the Rock, they shined it up sideways. Thought that thing was straight up his candy ass. That's what happened. I told you guys that in the group chat. You don't listen, bro. That team. I would. First of all, you guys play. It's a beautiful stadium. Don't get me. We went there. It's a nice stadium, but it looks like a freaking barnyard. Okay, that's the whole town looks like a barnyard. It's like you live in a barn. Okay, even the basketball stadium it was the same thing. You looked like it was like a old factory.
Yeah, field house.
So but still, anyways, I feel whatever. Anyways, look at
the house. Look at that house that's right beside the stadium. You know which house I'm talking about, Jose.
Yeah. Don't worry. That house. Yeah. The oh my God! Don't even get me started.
We've got about 7 minutes, guys. Let's pick the Monday nighter. Let's not waste too much time in this. The Tampa Bay Bucks, who are injured like you would not believe, are going to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. They're not winning this game. I like the Bucks. They're injured. They're not going to be healthy the rest of the year. They need to make a trade. Their defense is terrible. They're taking on the champs who just acquired Hopkins. Kansas City wins this game easily. Jose.
Yeah, Kansas City wins this game easily. Their defense, Kansas City's defense, playing lights out. It's not even their offense; it's their defense. That's correct. Even last week, man. The KC Mahomes threw a pick. It was 1st and goal inside the 10, and they stopped him all four drives. Yeah. And that defense is unbelievable. They don't get the appreciation that they should get. They're the ones that have that team undefeated, to tell you the truth, because Mahomes this year has been shit.
Yeah,
brutal.
Yeah.
In saying that, I'm going to take KC. I think their defense will step it up, and I feel sorry for Baker Mayfield now that he has nobody to throw the ball to. You got Sterling Shepard if you consider him any game. So yeah, the tight end, but dude, I feel sorry for him. So I'm not. But you know what? It's Tampa Bay's fault because you have a wide receiver that's injured, and you play him. And you know that he's not 100%. So why are you forcing this guy to play a game that you're probably gonna lose anyway to the Ravens or whatever?
Yeah.
And then you have a divisional game that you have to win the following week, that you could rest him for that week, and you play him, and then he gets hurt and then both wide receivers get hurt, and I feel sorry for Godwin. He had to break his leg. That was disgusting, but it's one of those injuries that you don't want to watch. But anyways, I'm taking Keys.
Really, really stupid, the Evans situation. And then late in the game, they're down like 20, 30 points, and they still have the starters in the lineup. And that's when Godwin got hurt. Not a good week for Todd Bowles. Not a good week at all. Probably cost them a playoff spot, cost them a lot. I think Baker Mayfield, outside of the turnovers, he's thrown some picks. He's played great this year, and I do feel really bad for him because he has done his part. The running game is waking up. They got a 3-pronged attack, but those injuries are really going to hurt them. Evans will be back, but it's going to be too late. Barbosa, I know you're not going against the Chiefs probably the rest of the year. So
no, Dude, and the addition of Andre Hopkins, oh, that's
Yeah.
scary, man.
Yeah.
Listen, the Chiefs, for whatever they are offensively, Mahomes, when he says, okay, forget this, when he wants to get a touchdown, he's going to get a touchdown. Doesn't matter how.
I
That's how
think
they
he
show
struggled this year, though. I don't think he's
He
been.
struggled. He
Yeah.
He's
struggled.
been struggling. He's been
He
struggling.
struggled. Their defense is keeping him in.
Yes.
But you give him one too many drives. And
Yeah,
it's
that's the
over for you.
problem. That's the
That's what it
problem.
It's
is.
over for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now with DeAndre Hopkins, that's going to be a big addition. That's going to be scary.
Yeah.
This and you know what's going to happen. Come week 11, 12, you're going to see the offense really start to cook. And when it does, watch out. And they lose Pacheco, Kareem Hunt comes in, don't miss a step. The
Yeah.
running game is still the same.
Yeah.
It's still the same. Watch out. When Mahomes starts to cook when he wants to, that's going to be scary for the rest of the league. Like
Yeah.
I this is what I predict. I told you guys predicted the Super Bowl is Detroit, KC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, well, calm down, buddy. They got to go
Yeah.
through the Niners first. Calm down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you got to go to Detroit. You got to
Yeah.
go to Detroit.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fine. We'll go to Detroit. We'll whoop their
Yeah.
ass like we did last year. No problem.
So we're actually
Interesting.
because the 49ers are on a bye week, we're gonna talk about them next week because I want to see if Christian McCaffrey does return from his injury, and then we'll start the show next week.
That's gonna help
Yeah.
a lot. That's gonna
Yeah.
help your football team a lot. That's gonna really
Yeah.
open up things on the offense.
Yeah.
Is having McCaffrey back.
We'll start the show next week
100%.
talking about that. The 49ers are 4-4. They've been 4-4 before and gone on 8-game winning streaks to end the season. We'll see if that's the case this year. I don't think they're as good this year as they've been in the past. They've got injuries, so we'll talk about them next week. So that's
The
our
other teams
show.
in your division didn't take advantage. The other team that's what you got going. That's what the 49ers got going. The other teams didn't take advantage of your injuries. You guys are still going to win the division. The Niners are still winning that division.
Well,
Let's
they're
be
tied
honest.
with Arizona. Yeah,
With McCaffrey back, they're still going to win that division.
Well, we shall see. They're going to be fine, but I don't think they're as good as they were last year. They have a lot of injuries on defense and offense.
Listen, I don't know. I'm not saying they are, but I think he helps you guys out a lot. And having the rookie coming back slowly, the rookie wideout that got shot, you guys might start to really start cooking again on offense. So we'll see.
Listen, man, I've seen this already 2 years already in before. The Niners are 4-4 going into their bye weeks.
Yeah.
And they came out and they started whipping ass in the second. The Niners are a second half. They're a second half team. They've these last 2 years that they've always been 3-4, 4-3, and in the second half of the season they dominated. So I'm not even worried about that. Even with McCaffrey not there or with McCaffrey there, dude, they'll be fine. They'll be in the playoffs, and then we'll see when they go to Detroit and then see what happens.
All right. So we'll talk more about them next week. That's our show for this week. For the Mouth of the North Andrews, that's Tony Barbosa and Jose Carlos Gomes. We will see you next week on the Reese Report, and hopefully we'll have Gil back. And for now, c'est la vie and hit my music.